We want to see Caitlin Clark and we want to see Paige Beckers.
Caitlin scored more points per game, but Paige was more efficient.
Paige Bueckers has had one of the best careers in the history of women's college basketball. On paper, you can make the case that Paige Bueckers has better college career than Caitlin Clark. But this is the world of television, where you're not judged based on your accomplishments, you're not judged based on your stats, you're judged based on your drawing power. And looking at these ratings for the women's tournament, it is abundantly clear Paige Bueckers might be a star, but she's not a draw.
These two were the topic of conversation. Who's the better player?
She's not nearly the player that Caitlin Clark is.
You know, she's been really disappointing this whole tournament.
Paige Bueckers may have just made the biggest mistake of her career by challenging Caitlin Clark's spotlight and dominance.
Needle mover in women's basketball, college or pro, is Caitlin Clark. NBA player claims white America hasn't embraced Paige Beckers like Caitlin Clark.
The idea that Juju and Paige have not been covered is just false.
The media might hype Paige Bueckers as the next Caitlin, but let's be honest, there's only one queen of basketball. While Caitlin Clark is breaking records, changing the game, and drawing millions of fans, Paige is just trying to keep up. The gap is clear, and right now, Paige is fading from the spotlight.
The media was claiming that women's college basketball was set up for success. The Sweet 16 games on ESPN averaged just under 3 million viewers, down 50% compared to last year. There is a huge difference between a star and a draw.
Caitlin Clark isn't just winning, she's transforming the entire sport. If Paige Bueckers thinks she can step into Caitlin's spotlight, she's in for a rude awakening. From jaw-dropping stats to unmatched popularity and pure dominance, this video will show exactly why Caitlin is leagues ahead, and why Paige's attempt to claim her throne is failing badly.
We're not creating this rivalry. We're not saying they hate each other, but they are two of the best in the game right now.
Why hasn't Middle America given Paige Beckers the Caitlin Clark treatment?
Paige Beckers is woke as hell. She's gonna come into the league and join the WNBA activism. She's probably not gonna be embraced over that because we are sick of it.
We're done with the hype. If you're a real Caitlin Clark fan, drop Caitlin Clark next MVP in the comments now. Let's skip the nonsense and get straight to the facts. Caitlin's dominance speaks for itself, and no one can deny it.
Going into the Final Four, the women's tournament is averaging 967,000 viewers, down 31%.
The life that I have now as a white woman who leads a black-led sport and celebrated here, I want to show a light on black women. They don't get the media coverage that they deserve.
And as long as she comes in the league and she joins the likes of Dejanay Carrington and all these others that are always promoting some kind of activism, she's not going to know. Why? Because sports fans want to watch damn sports.
Caitlin Clark is in a league of her own when it comes to performance. The numbers don't lie. If Paige Bueckers or her fans believe she's anywhere near Caitlin's level, they are in for a rude awakening. The gap is undeniable, and it's time for the truth.
The reason that Caitlin Clark is getting all of this attention is because she is an anomaly. She is a phenomenal player, and Paige Beckers is also a phenomenal player, but it just isn't the same. She doesn't do the same things. She doesn't do the things that have never been seen.
Caitlin Clark has been shattering records, posting numbers that even WNBA legends can't help but admire. She's already the NCAA's all-time single-season leading scorer, dominating defenses with her incredible shooting range, precise passing, and unmatched ability to take over games. Her legacy is being built one record at a time.
What happened is Caitlin Clark, in her sophomore year and really in her junior year, just started excelling and doing things that nobody had ever seen a female basketball player do. Like, nobody had consistently been shooting these from the logo passes.
In contrast, Paige Bueckers' stats don't even come close. While Caitlin Clark is consistently putting up 30-plus points per game, Paige struggles to break 20 points on a regular basis. When it comes to assists, Caitlin is more than just a scorer, she's a playmaker. Averaging over 8 assists per game, Caitlin proves she's not only an elite shooter but also the best at making her teammates better, setting her apart as a complete player in the game.
I thought Paige Buchers was a star. I thought Paige Buchers was the secondary great white hope. It didn't matter who Caitlin Clark was playing, and the game would be headline news. That is what's missing in women's college basketball this season.
Meanwhile, Paige, she's nowhere near that level. Her assist numbers are average at best, and unlike Clark, she doesn't have the ability to change the entire flow of a game with her passing vision.
On the front page of the article, Front Office Sports has a little girl holding up a sign that says, "Caitlin who? It's Paige Buchers' time to shine." Paige shined this season. Problem is, no one was watching.
Caitlin Clark dominates in defense, rebounds, and clutch moments. She doesn't shy away from pressure. In fact, she thrives under it. In crucial must-win games, time and again, Caitlin has carried her team, stepping up and delivering when it matters most, proving her all-around dominance.
One of the reasons they're stars, it's because of where they're playing. If Paige Buchers was at Iowa, do you think she would be a star? There have been plenty of big stars at UConn: Donna Taurasi, Curly Sue Bird, Brianna Stewart, Rebecca Lobo. Big stars at UConn. What happened once they got to the WNBA? They disappeared. I don't see Paige Buchers becoming a bigger star in the WNBA.
And the way that she brought a pretty average Iowa team to bring them to the championship, not once but twice. She was an underdog story. And Paige Buchers, for as great as she is not an underdog.
Paige Buchers, on the other hand, has struggled to carry the same weight. Injuries have sidelined her multiple times, and when she has played, she hasn't delivered at the historic level Caitlin Clark has. The bottom line, Caitlin Clark isn't just better, she's on a completely different level. Her impact on the court is unparalleled, and no matter how much the media pushes Paige's rise, the stats tell the true story. There's no competition. Caitlin's dominance speaks for itself.
All they can think to do is infer, insinuate racism. Just claim racism. Ratings explode.
A lot of Caitlin Clark fans, and so many of them are not white. It's just insulting to assume that that's the case to the people that aren't white, to the Black Americans that do love Caitlin Clark.
Eaton Thomas contrasts how white Americans view the two based on stark differences in speaking out against racial injustice. Quote, "Perhaps it's because, unlike Clark, Buchers has always been outspoken about issues off the court," Thomas wrote in a Guardian article. At the 2021 ESPYs, Buchers was named the College Athlete of the Year. She used her acceptance speech to celebrate and honor Black women in particular. In Buchers' famous ESPYs speech, she used her platform to recognize those who didn't get the same recognition as her, specifically highlighting Black women. While Black America cheered Buchers, it seemed like mainstream white America, a demographic once viewed her as, in her words, a media darling, weren't signaling out her praises. Is it a coincidence, or maybe because her injuries have made people forget her greatness as an athlete? But she's back from injury, and now why are people focus on Buchers as they were Clark last year when she was tearing up college basketball? Maybe if Buchers had delivered a more vanilla ESPY speech, things would be different. This is a completely embarrassing article. Caitlin Clark is a worldwide phenomenon whose playing style has drawn a level of hype that hasn't been seen in basketball in a decade.
When it comes to star power, Caitlin Clark isn't just bigger than Paige Buchers, she's revolutionizing the sport. The numbers, fan support, and media coverage all point to one undeniable truth. Caitlin Clark is the face of women's basketball, while Paige Buchers is just a side note in comparison.
If you can't generate mainstream interest in the women's tournament, how are you going to generate interest in the WNBA?
Oh, she's being denied something. That y'all better treat her like Caitlin Clark. So how can we treat her like Caitlin Clark? She's in a different body of water. Sold out games after game after game. She had a connection with those people that was special. She carried that connection and that fan base to the WNBA. She dominated.
Let's start with TV ratings and audience numbers. Whenever Caitlin Clark hits the court, the world tunes in. Her games have shattered viewership records for women's college basketball, with millions watching her dominate. ESPN, Fox Sports, and every major sports network can't get enough of her because they know one thing: Caitlin Clark drives ratings. In fact, some of her games have attracted more viewers than NBA matchups, proving her immense appeal and influence in the sports world.
The light that I have now as a white woman who leads a Black-led sport and celebrated here, I want to show a light on Black women. They don't get the media coverage that they deserve. They've given so much to the sport and the community and society as a whole, and their value is undeniable. The WNBA, last season, the postseason awards, 80% of the winners were black, but they got half of the coverage as the white athletes. So I think it's time for change. Sports media holds the key to storylines. Sports media and sponsors tell us who is valuable, and you have told the world that I matter today, and everyone who voted, thank you. But I think we should use this power together to also celebrate black women.
Don't you realize these black girls all paved the road that she's traveling, that these black women built the WNBA, that these black women carried women's basketball, and now all the racists love women's basketball because they're racist and they have Caitlin Clark. Just not true.
Let that sink in. Caitlin Clark is outdrawing professional basketball games. Meanwhile, how many are tuning in to watch Paige Bueckers? The numbers aren't even close. Caitlin's appeal and viewership are on a whole different level.
No one seems to be talking about it. The tournament doesn't feel as important, which is bad news for the WNBA because it likely means that Paige Bueckers becomes another unknown face hidden by her hard hat in the dump.
Her games barely make headlines, and when they do, it's usually because someone's trying to force a comparison to Caitlin. Now, let's talk social media dominance. Caitlin Clark's name is everywhere. She's constantly trending on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Her highlight reels rack up millions of views, with fans and analysts alike calling her the future of basketball. She has more followers, more engagement, and a much larger presence than Paige Bueckers. Why? Because people care about greatness, and Caitlin Clark is delivering it every single game. Paige's social media presence, on the other hand, is weak. Sure, she has a fan base, but it's nowhere near the level of the Clark effect. Caitlin's influence is unmatched.